think I think education right now, like, it's kind of useless. Not really, but it's very. It hasn't come up with the times because people people right now don't really give a fuck. Okay, hmm, really don't care about education like that. It's not what it used to. You get a job. You go to school, you get a job, and then you just work for the rest of your life until you're like 65. Right now, it doesn't really feel like it's that much useful, because everything that we learn in school, we can just Google it, be like, hey yo, how to how to be a medical doctor, and you just check everything that needs to be known about being a doctor, and you can just do that thing. Also, you can just learn on the job. So I've never really understood education. To me, in my mind, ever since I was a kid, I just thought pe- kids just go to school so that the parents have their time to go to work, to chill, and then take the kids back. So it just basically to like keep the kid busy. So I never understood we were teen schooling. You feel me? But I feel like I really think that I figured out how to improve education so that it can not just it can increase in usefulness, but it can also just like generally actually be, because there's a lot of people out there that go to school, they pay tens of thousands of rands just to stay at home. It's kind of crazy. You have your certificate there saying that you're a graduate from this school and you have this degree, but most people never had the chance to use it, which is kind of fucked up because now all you're doing is you're paying tens of thousands of rand for 12 years and above just so that you can stay at home. That's kind of crazy. All about root. Kamlang Oyama. Hope you're watching. If I piqued your interest, stay a while. You might. Okay. Okay. It's not really that I hate school. I don't hate school, but I really think its usefulness is dropping. Because in most schools, they don't really incorporate new ideology. Instead, they just use the old practices and the traditional school systems to just do everything, which is kind of stupid because everything is improving. Everything is evolving from not education, from production to labor to parenting to just life in general. But the only thing that remains constant in our detriment, aka Yasnyisa, is education. Because everything, perfect example, from how old do you get there? From 6 to 21, you're at school. First of all, you're not gaining any experience. For how many years? That's kind of crazy. You're not gaining any type of experience. It doesn't really teach you what you will actually need in your life. You're not calculating, okay, except for maths lit. You're not calculating tax, so you don't know how to pay tax. First of all, you don't even know that you have to pay tax. It's kind of shy. You don't figure out how to. There's just a lot of things that they don't incorporate in school. Things that they should incorporate in school is like, first of all, they have to teach you how to do a driver's license. Not them specifically, but there should be a system in place so that you learn how to drive. It should be like a side curriculum, like an extra curriculum from when you're like 16 and upwards, so that by the time you're writing your final exam, you know how to drive. You have a learners at the very least, and then during your matric, okay, after your matric, you get your driver's license, back grand. Because that thing is very important. Me right now, I'm learning how to drive and I'm 19. Before then, I never knew how to drive. Didn't know what a stick shift is. Didn't know what a gear is. Didn't know how to rev. It was shy. And in most families, they probably won't have the means to actually teach their kid how to drive. Or they just put it in the back end and be like, later on when you're like, I don't know. So one of my steps into like improving this thing is free education. Because free education, I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, obviously, because there's a lot of things that have to go inside it because education is a very expensive, not system, industry. Because first of all, in terms of the person who provides the education, meaning in this case would be the government, they would have to, okay, they don't have to rent because they own the land because they're the government, they're the state, so they don't have to rent anything. Damn, I just fixed everything. They don't have to rent. Obviously, there's the stationery you use like toilet paper, ukutya if you're providing food, stationery like actual stationery like a pen, rubber, and no, not anyway. Amanzi and electricity, and even then you're the one who provides it, so there's not really much of a cost. And also, and I really feel like our tax, okay, not my, I don't pay tax, man, I pay VAT tax. The tax that they accumulate from income tax of the employee, income tax of the actual corporate businesses, VAT, fuel tax, zone, it needs money tax for you not to be able to provide free education from my perspective. You feel me? And also and yeah, and all those other things. And it will be very beneficial because it will eliminate the the cost of actual education for a household, and then they will have more money to do what, to buy groceries, to maintain the household, to yeah, man. And I get it, not everything with the free education will have to be free. For example, esports, you have to pay for the sports as the household. You have to give up money for the sports because not everyone is gonna do sports. So why are you offering it for free? That doesn't make sense. You feel me? Yeah. So I get that part, sure, and it should be like implemented that people do sports. At least there should be a gym somewhere around, because if phys ed is not enough, now we have teachers who take photos of young girls. It's kind of, it's collab. But yeah, free education will bring a lot of benefits. For example, it will eliminate costs for household, which will increase their income, not income, their buying power at the end of the day. So now they can concentrate on other things. Two, that money you would use for education, me as the student, I can choose not to go to school, and you won't have a reason to force me to go to school, because right now most students feel like they have to go to school. And guys, we have to understand that for some people school is not their thing. Because school, I'm not gonna say school is hard, because for me personally it's not, but it does feel like a waste of time sometimes. You feel me? It could be just the systems that are in place right now. Cool way. But for some people it is actually difficult. Like, it's difficult. Like, some people don't have the desire to go to school because in their mind it's pointless. Other people, it's very difficult and they just can't do it. That's just how life is. Some people can't do it. You can say they're stupid, you can say they don't want to. At the end of the day, they just can't do it. They just go to school because they feel forced. And now that's why That's how some people just drop out. They just drop out. They barely go. They just use school as an opportunity to get out of the house and do what they actually want to do. In some cases, I remember in my matric, there were guys who would go to school, bah, ekoneni, just get elevated. It was crazy. And these guys would come here like after school, chilling, acting like they were here. You can just see in their eyes that they stoned. It was crazy. Abanye bahambe bayosela phinde babuye. It was just a lot of shit. And at the end of the day, they just weren't feeling school. And I understand. Who am I to be like, okay, I was a prefect. So. But who am I to say, go to school if you don't want to? And that's what drops the matric, um, the matric mark. That's what drops it because people aren't focused on school. People are generally not focused on school. People just want to live their best lives because they're young or they want to do their own thing on the side. For example, there were some people who like drawing. I draw. And some people can actually make money off that thing. They can sell it or go to museums and present their art pieces. That's a good thing. You feel me? Otherwise, yabona la mali, yeah, your education. Me as a student or as the child of the house can go to mom or dad or whoever and be like, Mama, I don't nyanga. Kanyaka. Nyanga is too short. Just give me a year. Just give me the money you're gonna use to pay. Not by 1,000 rand, 2,000, depends on the school. Give me 1,000 rand a month. I wanna try something. And if I can't do it by the end of this year, and if I don't accomplish it by the end of this year, or you don't see improvement, progress, for at least like my city 6 months, yeah, city 6 months, nyana, 6 months to a year. Just give me six months to a year. Give me that 1,000 rand or 2,000. I want to do something for myself. It's either I want to progress with this, what's this thing? This art thing and make it an actual thing. Go to places, present my artwork, get a job somewhere. Or I wanna go be an intern somewhere. Yabo, J-U-A man. Or I wanna do content. Cause content, being an influencer right now, Dala, it used to be frowned upon, but right now it actually makes sense. Cause some people just have a personality with them, or they have something to offer to the masses, whether it be intellectual, whether it be entertainment, doesn't matter at the end of the day. As long as you clicking, for me, that's progress. You feel me? So it also offers that leeway. And so generally, us as students or us as kids, we don't feel forced to do it. And the only people who are going to be at school are people who actually want to be at school. Instead of people just being forced to go there and then doing their own shit. Yeah, boy, it just makes a lot of sense, you feel me? And now you're going to see the, what's this thing? The mark, the matric, the general education levels are going to be sky high. And now the actual education level of South Africa itself is going to rise, it's going to be top tier because the only people who are at school are people that actually want to be at school. You feel me? So it fixes that area. And I understand how you're going to pay for who are the people? How you're going to pay for the staff, how you're going to pay for the teachers, how you're going to pay for the maintenance. I get that, but I really think e-tax is a lot of money because we hear all these stories about 15,000 going 50 million for a dirt field. That's crazy. You could have used that money and employed a lot of good people for a lot of years. Not months, years. Like 15 million that you wasted on Lawe. You feel me? So I really think this thing can work out in terms of the free education and whatever. And there's a lot of other points, but I'm kind of forgetting them. But I cool with. The other way to like improve your education is through practicality in terms of you actually in collaborating with employers instead of just because in Nike with the education is that it feels very isolated. Like for how many years? Let me do the quick maths. Okay, man, it took 12 years. For 12 years, minimum 12 years, you are in one place. Okay, it depends. But you are learning from a textbook, from a book that is outdated, first of all. And you learn, you're not even, okay, you are learning something. Sure, you're learning something. You're learning the mitochondria of the cell. You're learning X times Y equals Z. Cool. Those are useful concepts down the line, depending on the career you want to do. I get that. Sure. But generally what you're doing, you are memorizing shit, writing them down, and then you're being tested on them, on how well you can memorize it at the end of the 3 months or end of the 6 months or kind of end of the year. That's generally what you're doing, but you're not gaining any real life practical experience. Because now, sure, we're learning about the mitochondria of the cell, which is gonna be useful if you're gonna be a doctor or a scientist. Sure, I get that. And it's gonna be very difficult to learn it when you're like 21 in university, so you have to learn it beforehand, so it can just be basic knowledge. I get that one, sure, and I get all those technology, natural science, ELO, hey, ELO, got that one, but a cool way. ELO is kind of iffy. I'm not gonna lie to you, because you for 12 years all you're learning is about STDs, peer pressure, stress, nyana, and that's it. For 12 years, that's all you learn with LO. I feel like LO should end in grade 4. That shit should end in grade 4. At least grade 7. Sure. Grade 7. Grade 7 and LO. Because that thing is useless in my eyes. And you cannot tell me anything different. I want to enjoy. So I feel like it should be practical in a way that it also involves employers. Not when you... I'm talking about high school now. In terms of who from grade R to grade 7, I get that. Put that aside. I'm talking about grade 8 to grade 12. Grade 10 to grade 12. When are you 16? Yeah, from grade 10 to grade 12. You have to be incorporated, not incorporated, but businesses have to be involved, because now in a sense of what actually happens in the workplace, one, two, how to actually get a job, like what are the requirements you need to have just as a person, not for a specific career, just as a person. One, you need to be formal, which you learn in English. You have to be able to do tasks, which is what you learn, which is what you being fed in the school system in general. Because the school is basically teaches you how to be a worker, how to be an employee. I'm gonna touch on that another time or later. But you can use it to incorporate. Okay, not even high school. Do it in varsity, whereby it is encouraged. We help you with your CV. We start doing CV things. The moment you get a matric, we basically try to get you a CV, and we just send it out as a school. We just send it out to places, whether it's Ackermans or it's whatever until you go to varsity. So that, because there's some people who go after matric, they're on these streets gallivanting, doing all that shit, or or they do what they want to do on the side. I get that, but in terms of matric, I think that thing would help for you to get a CV, and they distribute that thing outside. It's gonna, it makes sense in my mind, but I can't explain it. But I'll go with you. The last way I could improve education is by changing the culture of education. Because the culture of education is kind of fucked up in my mind. Because what's happening is, you as a student, from grade R to grade what? To grade 12, you are basically being conditioned to be an employee. Which is kind of crazy in my mind. Because you have these things like business studies where you where you being taught how to be an entrepreneur and wara wara. Sure, but that thing is conditioning you how to be an employee, how to be on work on time, how to wear uniform and wear a specific thing, which suppresses individualism and creativity. And there's certain customs that are put in place. Nje yonke into dibene education, it's just preparing you to be an employee, which I get, because at the end of the day, that's what careers are, and that's what learning is, so that you can apply what you learned in the business space and in the workplace. I get that, but at the same time, it's suppressing individualism and creativity as umuntu, because now there's certain rules that don't make any sense. For example, you have to cut your hair. That's some military shit. You don't need that as a kid. I'm not gonna lie to you. You don't need that shit as a kid, because my hair is not disturbing anybody. 2, you can't listen to headphones at break. It's break. What you mean? So there's a way, man, as making sense. I get it. During the class, you do need to be focused on one thing. I get that. But I'm from Oga. Even as a student, I can't go to the staff and be like, guys, I want this, this, and that, and there's people who agree with me. I can't do that. I remember I tried that, not even me. My entire matric class, we tried that as a matriculants, as me as a prefect. We were like, okay, guys, we want to do A, B, C, D. Here's a list. And now you just see, and they just, this is a dog tech. We don't want that thing. Which is kind of crazy to me, because now you're just suppressing us and be like, you don't matter. Focus on this. And that culture will translate to business. Because I feel like businesses also do that thing to their workers, whereby it's not, there's no unity, man. There's no collaboration. It's just you do what we say and you shut up. That's not a good thing, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who are experiencing the system. And for us to do a good job, I'm not going to say everything we want is beneficial. I'm not going to lie. Because some of us want longer breaks. Some of us don't want to go to school in general. Some of us want civis. I feel like civis is a good thing though, because I should be able to wear my own clothes. And that can even minimize the cost. Uniform and the source and the understand uniform. Because uniform, I make it sense. Why am I wearing a uniform? Sure, I can be identified as a student. But me having a backpack and going to school identifies me as a student. And not everyone should know that I'm a student. So I don't have that thing. I'm not a policeman. I don't need a uniform so people can identify that I'm a policeman. You feel me? Uniform has its place. In my mind, and it will never have a place in school. Honestly. Because even the teachers, abakami, banibayanuka, Why am I dog? What the dog? But cool, it's fine. I'm getting down. Do your thing. But all in all, it's a thing of the culture of education is very suppressing. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's very, very suppressing. And a lot of people stray away from that to the point where they go to schools that have the less suppressing rules and regulations. Which is kind of weird to me, but I kind of get it. Because why would you go to a school that doesn't want you to listen to music? When in your mind, there's nothing wrong with listening to music, especially at break and after school and before school. So why are they policing that thing? And there's other things that they police that don't make sense to me. For example, it's socks. You're not gonna see my socks. Why do you need me to wear is in this figure dog that come up to my thighs? It doesn't make any sense. And why can't I wear long what's this thing? Long pants in the summer? That's how comfortable I am. And it's just beneficial to you guys because I can perform at my best if I'm comfortable. You feel me? So I never got to grips with that, but I'm cool. I'm not gonna say change the systems. It's your school. I'm getting down. Not Puma, not Glory, Varsity, no. Hey, but trick like the bunny in the fuck. But I'm cool. In conclusion, I really think education, there should be a shift in education. At least there should be an improvement. Because there's most schools, their primary, like, what they primarily use to educate the learners and test their learners is a textbook, which is outdated. 2011. A lot has happened since 2011. There has to be a change. Yeah, I'm not saying we should eliminate textbooks because there's some subjects that just you need that thing. And there's some subjects where they get rid of that thing. Get rid of it. We have literally everyone has a phone. Most households can give a child a phone, but they cannot afford incwadi. And that's a fact. Antitikaga. This is a fact. So, textbooks, right now, they're just outdated. We don't need them anymore. We're not saying give us tablets. We don't want your tablets. We have our own phones. Let's use our phones to do notes. And let's discuss. Because discussion is a great way to learn. I'm not going to lie to you. It's by far, for me, the best way to learn. Because you telling me to make notes by myself, I can't lie. Some people can't articulate that thing and make it make sense for them. So that discussion is beneficial. And it also helps the person themselves be able to think and articulate the words better. So it's just a win-win process. But you get textbook, masithethe, masixoxelewe, yoba, masithi not English, natural science, the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. And then we discuss what does it do, where is it located, whatever, in terms of technology. It's stress the roof and but yeah, I just feel like and the education system must encourage alternatives. I don't know what the alternatives are. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what the alternatives are. The alternatives are, I can say sports. They must encourage sports, or at least fitness. If fitness, they must encourage it. I'm not saying phys ed. Phys ed to me is, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I had a pretty good phys ed teacher in grade 12. Shout out, Besimbiza coach, a Royal, a Komani. Shout out to him. And we need teachers like that guy, because that guy, he will tell us the honest truth. Bah, hilla, this is what happening in life. And if you want to deal with it, stay and I'll tell you how to deal with it. We need more teachers like that. We need teachers who are going to be honest with their students. And they're going to tell them the facts of life. Bah, hilla, dog. And when if you less, because he wasn't just a teacher. He also owned a gym. And those type of alternatives, they have to be encouraged. Just in case this thing be able to, and we have to be able to to observe one another and be like, okay, this person has this type of skills or this type of mindset. Let's improve upon it. Let's be able to make it useful for their lives. For example, in grade 9, I started drawing in grade 9. And there was a teacher that told me about, okay, dog, you can draw, keep doing it, and you might be a great artist. You feel me? And I even got an award just because he encouraged me. If he didn't encourage me, I wouldn't have done that thing. If he didn't encourage me and say, bruh, you have good skills, push, and I promise you will go places. And they even made an award that year for art, which encouraged me to push, and I ended up winning the award. But okay, the competition wasn't that much because it was between me and my friend, to be honest with you. They were dope artists, but it was just me and my friend, and I won. But other than that, I hope you enjoy. If you did actually watch my video, it's gonna take a while to edit this thing, but I'll go in. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna drop a lot of content. I think I'm gonna drop 3 videos a week, maybe more. Stick around. Stay tuned. Appreciate you. Bye.
I think I hate school. I do. I think I hate school. I do. I don't got no problem with learning, but this ain't helping my earnings. I think I hate school. I do. I'd leave it for